Peter F. Drucker, a leading authority on management in American industry, states that boss-subordinate understanding is a central key to the effectiveness of the management team. Unfortunately, all too many executives think they have this understanding, when in fact they don't. One president of a small electronics firm said,
"Jim and I eat lunch together every day. We talk over everything and understand each other perfectly."
Following a communications test given them by a management consultant, it turned out that the president's #1 project rated only 4th on Jim's list. The same kind of divergence may exist in your understandings both up the line and down. To help you improve your understandings in both directions, here is a simple 4-step plan. Obviously, the first step must be to ensure that you have a clear understanding of the responsibilities and objectives assigned to you and your department or division. In order to catch the one possible misunderstanding or wrong priority given to a part of the job, start by listing all the objectives you are charged with achieving and all the responsibilities delegated to you. Then, review these with your superior to ensure agreement. This is vital because, after all, these are the criteria by which you are judged. One department head had this conversation with the general manager after preparing his list.
Well, of course, George. Government contracts are in Fred Carson's bailiwick. I always rely on his judgment there.
Not on your life. The legal aspects are Fred's responsibility, yes. But you and you alone are responsible for passing on the terms of a contract. That is what can make it profitable to us or not.
Lord, I never understood it that way.
Then it's a good thing we had this talk. I couldn't be more pleased you brought it up.
And you too may find some interesting disparities when you bring up the details of your responsibilities with your superior. Now let's take step 2. Here you must review each segment of your job and separate out those things you yourself must do personally. Everything else should be delegated to your assistants or staff. The manager's job is to manage, and when he finds himself doing instead of managing, he's making a mistake, if a perfectly natural one. Listen to this misguided department head and one of his subordinates.
Now, Fred, I want you to supervise closely the installation of each of the new machines. I'll take on the job of training the new operators so you're not overloaded.
I can handle their training all right. There won't be any conflict.
I'd rather you put full time into seeing that this equipment is installed right.
It won't take my full time, and I've trained the men we've got now.
Well, nevertheless, I feel my plan would be better.
If you're a manager, manage. This department head will soon find himself bogged down in the details of training new men, personality problems, and all the rest of it. And the planning, controls, and his managing function as a whole is bound to suffer. Step 3 in ensuring clear boss-subordinate understanding has to do with those men or women who report to you. As you have analyzed and listed your responsibilities and objectives and checked them out with your superior, so have subordinates list in order the 7 most important things they think you want them to be doing. Do the same thing yourself with regard to each individual, so that you can check your list against his in order to uncover areas of disagreement. When these lists are prepared, you are now ready for step 4, a conference with each subordinate, at which you can examine the items and the priorities you both have given them. Listen to this sales manager discussing such a list with one of his regional managers.
I must admit that I was surprised to find hiring #2 on your list, Jack.
Oh, I understand it's very important, Vince. But I've always figured that keeping current sales up was my #1 responsibility. The organization manual is pretty clear on that.
Well, there's a perfect example of why I asked you to prepare this list. Yes, the manual does give the impression that current sales is the first preoccupation of a regional manager. But I thought I had underlined pretty hard that expanding the sales force was to get top priority. at least for the rest of this year. Well, then, as you see, I've listed training the new men as number 2. Now, Jack, let's have one thing clear. I see this lack of agreement between our lists as a communications failure on my part. I hope the time we're spending this way will correct that failure.
And so our sales manager continues with each of his regional managers and other subordinates to sharpen the two-way understanding that must exist between manager and subordinate for an effective management team. Try this 4-step approach, perhaps at first with one of your subordinates before you expand it to include your boss and all the others you supervise. You'll find it improves all your working relationships and results in a more effective contribution of your department or division toward company goals. This has been a Nation's Business presentation.